A Twist of Fate, written by Ace of Hearts, read by Narcost. Disclaimer, I don't own anything. If I did, I'd be off in some warm beach in the Bahamas soaking up the sun and sipping strawberry daiquiris, instead of freezing my ass off in this pathetic little room, popping aspirins and hacking away at my worn keyboard. Author's notes. Well, after reading all those complaints about how every other romance fic you see is Steph/Y2J one, or how there's no original pairings, or how it's always the same couple over and over, I've decided that for my first ever attempt at writing a serious romantic WWF fic, I'm not going to risk getting accused of writing about the same pairing, and took a wild gamble by pairing up a WWF diva with someone who's not even in the WWF. Squinty face. Hope you enjoy anyway, and those of you who don't care or can't guess who it is after the first chapter, I'll reveal his identity by the second installment of the Ficky. Smiley face. Author's note number 2. This is no way, shape, or form a Hardy Boys fic. I just happen to like the name of the Twist of Fate. That's all. That's all that ties it in and what will happen later on in the story. I don't even like the Hardys. I don't even have anything against them, but you won't expect exactly to find me running around calling myself Jeff Hardy's babe or Matt Hardy's girl or Mr. Matthew Moore Hardy or whatever. They're fun to watch in the ring, and I suppose that some girls that they're sort of eye candy, but seeing as how many romance fickies seem to be either Steph Y2J or Hardy Mary Sue, I figured this section didn't need yet another Hardy Boys fic. Chapter 1. She wears a coat of color. Loved by some, feared by others, she is immortalized in the young men's eyes. Trish Stratus hurried through the hallways of the arena, making a beeline for the temporary creative office that Stephanie McMahon had set up to go over some of last-minute script changes. Contrary to popular belief that the two shared a real-life heat, it must have been that famous feud leading up to their 2001 No Way Out match. The two beautiful divas had done such a convincing job that they hated each other. A lot of clueless fans had actually believed the two were always down each other's throats. This is all with commas, folks. Trish was actually very good friends with the curvaceous princess of sports entertainment. The 26-year-old blonde bombshell had a matchup later that night against the reigning women's champion, Jazz. Something she was both looking forward to and dreading at the same time, and she was anxious to know how the match was supposed to go, specifically how many hard knocks she would have to take. It was always a thrill wrestling with Jazz. She was one of the most athletic wrestlers, not just woman, okay, but wrestler in sports entertainment. But she also had a way of inflicting pain on her opponents. Hell, the way she dished out a beating Jazz made Jacqueline look like a sweet, innocent princess in the ring, and that was saying something. Needless to say, Trish was reasonably worried about her new match up with Jazz, as how it was supposed to go. Did Stephanie expect her to take most of the beating? She sure hoped not. Trish glanced at her watch and noticed anxiously that there was only 3 hours left until showtime. 3 hours until the superstars went live with the WWF Raw. They didn't give her a lot of time to speak with Stephanie, go over her match with Jazz, and warm up before the show, so Trish increased her speed. Since she had her eye fixed on the crystal face of her watch, and since she was practically sprinting through a fairly crowded hallway, it wasn't long before Trish collided with someone. She let out a grunt as she smacked full force against the man's chest and was knocked back a couple feet. She would have probably fallen rather unceremoniously on her squinted behind. Squinted? Really? And had someone not reached over and quickly grabbed her wrist, helping her regain her balance. "Whoa," a rich man's voice spoke up. "Are you okay?" Trish's gaze was fixed on the floor as she rubbed her forehead with the heel of her hand. "Yeah," she started to say, her eyes traveling upwards to meet the young man's face. She promptly froze as she took the sight of the chiseled physique, long brown hair, and boyish good looks. "Wow," Trish murmured, speaking more in the magnificent shoulders and chest packed into the classic white tank top. "You're fine." She suddenly realized what she had just said, and quickly shook her head. I'm fine." She quickly corrected herself, a blush beginning to stain her cheeks. "I'm fine, as in, not you. Not that I'm saying you're not fine. What the hell am I doing?" Trish thought to herself, in dismay, and she quickly clammed up to prevent any more embarrassing blabber from escaping her lips. The young man responded with a charming smile and amused glint in his beautiful brown eyes as he said, "Glad you're all right." And he started to leave. "Wait!" As soon as he turned around, Trish started to mentally kick herself, wondering why she even called out to him. "Yeah?" he asked pleasantly, and waited patiently while Trish tried to think of something intelligent. I don't think I've seen you before. Are you, like, from the developmentals or something? Because with that physique, you can't possibly be a cameraman," she added silently to herself. "Oh, I don't work here," the young man replied, much as to her disappointment, although she didn't quite know why. To take her mind off her thoughts, Trish extended one hand and said, "By the way, my name's Trish Stratus. Sorry for bumping into you like that." The young man shook her hand, a pleasant smile on his handsome face. "I'm Scott," he spoke, "and it was nice meeting you, but I've really got to go." Trish realized that she had held on his hand for a little longer than necessarily, and quickly let go, a blush staining her cheeks once again. "Sorry," she mumbled. "Bye," Scott waved and walked away. As soon as Scott had disappeared from sight, Trish reluctantly resumed her trek towards the creative offices. Just what exactly was she doing, looking at other guys anyways? After all, it wasn't exactly like she was on the market, she added to herself, when she saw Matt Hardy approaching. "Hey, Trish," Matt spoke cheerfully, giving his girlfriend of nearly 8 months a quick peck on the cheek. "Hi, Matt," Trish replied, feeling guilty about having checked out Scott with her boyfriend right in the area. "Sorry I can't stay with you. Me and Jeff are here to warm up for a match tonight," Matt apologized and jogged off. "Bye." "Bye," Trish whispered to it in a tiny voice, and continued on her way to the temporary writer's corner of that and Stephanie's. That's it, she told herself. No more checking out other guys, and no more thinking of Scott. But who could blame her for having noticed that Scott was perfect eye candy? Over the months, she and Matt had begun drifting apart from each other. It was entirely not their fault. The two were busy with their work. That, and they lived in completely different states. Matt and Jeff were neighbors in a smart gated community in Cameron, North Carolina, while Trish had just recently moved from Toronto to Orlando, having followed Edge and Christian's footsteps in moving from snowy, wintry Canada to Florida's warmth. But still, just because they were apart so often didn't create any excuse for Trish to start checking out other guys, no matter how gorgeous they were. "All right," Trish had told herself firmly, as she rounded a corner and saw with relief the temporary office that the booking department had set up in the arena. "From this moment on, I'll forget I even met Scott and concentrate on Matt and only Matt." She reached the office and out of the politeness knocked first. Someone, the person closest on the door, she guessed, opened it for her, and Trish came in and promptly found herself face to face with the same stranger from the hallway. Scott, she stammered. End of chapter 1.